Scott says the new Plazma RCTT 2024 is the European brand's fastest bike. In the 40 km segment, it was 33 seconds faster than the previous model with the same pedaling power. At 55 km per hour, the Plazma RCTT provides less deceleration due to air resistance due to better integration of components. And at the same time, according to the manufacturer, the bike is more stable at speed. In addition, it is claimed that the Syncros Crestonic TT integrated cockpit, which is on this model, is the most customizable in the world at the moment. It turns out that the new carving bike from Scott was officially unveiled almost a year after we first saw it at the Giro d'Italia race in 2022. This model is sold only as a frame set with cockpit in sizes S, M and L for €7,999. The bike is compatible with hydraulic disc brakes and electric group sets, and the maximum clearance for rubber here is, according to the manufacturer, 30 mm. According to Scott representatives, they used computational fluid dynamics and the help of Drag20 experts to determine the most optimal pipe profiles. The modular version of the bike was then tested in the wind tunnel. These tests showed, for example, that the shorter seat tube saved up to 2 watts of power when the rider was sitting in the saddle, even though the longer tube was better in terms of aerodynamics without the rider on the bike. The final version is a fairly typical modern carving bike like the Pinarello Bolide, although it definitely looks like Scott's newest aero bike called the Foil RC as well. The profiled, aerodynamic tubes are combined with a lowered top feathering mount and an aerodynamic seat post. The handlebar is really narrow, though, and that's what catches your eye. Despite the fact that the new Plazma RCTT frameset is better in terms of aerodynamics, according to the manufacturer, it is 12% lighter than the previous one. In the end, in the 40 km segment, the new bike was 33 seconds faster than the previous model with identical applied power. And, according to Scott representatives, this figure comes not just from computer simulations, but from real tests. More stable geometry. According to Scott's engineers, they reduced the fork run out of the RC Plazma TT, but increased the front wheel offset by 5.2 mm to make the steering smoother and the bike more stable at speed. And while these geometry changes don't offer any obvious benefits in the wind tunnel, Scott engineers claim that they allow the rider to stay in an aerodynamic position longer. Improved component integration. Even last year we noticed this bike had a very narrow handlebar cup. It is claimed that the patented design of the steering column allows you to run cables right through it. According to the manufacturer, this way you don't have to make sure the cables go around the handlebars and steering tube the right way, and it also allows you to use a smaller diameter rubber steering bearing. Accordingly, the steering tube itself here was made narrower than was possible before. According to the manufacturer, it is possible to further reduce air resistance, since the front surface area of the bike is still somewhat reduced. Scott adds that this design makes it easier to remove the fork and handlebar from the bike because you don't have to disconnect the cables, which can be useful if, for example, you're going to take the bike on an airplane. Adjustable cockpit. According to Scott, they did a lot of work measuring the length of components on the bikes as well as the limbs of riders from the Team DSM men's, women's and boys teams to make the most adjustable integrated handlebar for split-start racing. The Crestonic TT from Syncros has adjustable and interchangeable parts that allow you to adjust the width, height, length and angle of the rudder. According to the manufacturer, it allows any rider to find the most aerodynamic, physiological and comfortable fit, while fitting within the UCI rules. For example, the stem comes in 3 sizes, 85, 105 and 125 mm. And the armrests here can be raised up to 145 mm to match your flexibility and preferences. The vertical angle of the extensions varies from 0 to 15 degrees, while the handles themselves can be angled from 13 to 53 degrees, so you can find your ideal position. In addition, The position of the armrests is also adjustable, so you can choose the most comfortable position. The extensions can be made 30 mm shorter or longer, depending on the length of your arms. You can also move the extensions within 5 degrees to the side.